First off, we have really exciting news. We have another book from you coming to D&D Beyond. What is that book? What is in this book?
It's Humblewood Tales. So this is our second big Humblewood book. It's filled with adventures. It's filled with lots of lore, setting information, some player-facing stuff, some really fun subclasses. Just a ton of content to make your Humblewood game even better.
Can you run me through what some of those subclasses are in this book?
Yeah, so we have a whole section dedicated to like this organization called the Tenders, who are the kind of mages who help balance nature and civilization, which obviously fits in really well with like animal people and people who live in a giant tree. And so we have some subclasses which really play to that. There's the druid, the circle of the warden, which is kind of representing this like nature, tending to nature, caring for nature. And then we kind of contrasting that, we also have the warlock, the which is representing the predator. So your patron is this kind of predatory force. We have a fantastic art piece for it with like this deer with fangs, who's kind of just ready to take on the world. And then finally, we have a wizard subclass, which is all to do with ley lines. So the kind of the tradition of magical energy and being in a place and of a place, and how you can tap into the land to empower your spells.
For the Warlock, is there examples of potential patrons or different evocations as well?
I mean, the classic kind of patron that I've seen a lot of people using from this book is one of the deities of this setting, which is Kren, who is the kind of shadowy fox. She represents like cunning and guile, but also like the predatory spirit because these are still animal people.
The kind of core of the subclasses that you're getting more and more animalistic as you go on. Your unarmed strikes start to become more powerful, and you start to take on more beastly qualities to make you a better hunter. So yeah, we keep it pretty open as to what you can be connected to.
Very cool. And there's a ton of different magical items in this as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, a world is sort of defined by its magical items, so we try and add to the selection with this one. But designing them for Humblewood has to be a certain vibe. Humblewood's a different kind of world than a classic sword and sorcery kind of setting. One of the ones that speaks well to the Humblewood setting is the Crown of Daffodils, which is basically it's like it says Crown of Daffodils, but you can give these daffodils and turn them into boutonnieres or put them in someone's hair, and it sort of grants them some bonuses to their ability checks and saves. Sort of, you can ask everyone out to the prom, I guess, is sort of the idea.
My favorite, I think, is the cogwork wings. Basically, you just strap on this backpack and take off into the skies on slightly dodgy mechanical wings, which are really fun. Maybe not the most reliable, but I really like that in a magic item. I think it brings a lot of kind of interest to like risk to using it.
You also have like a lot of world building elements to this. There are five specific adventures. Can you run me through what those adventures are?
Yeah, there's 5 adventures. For the most part, they're good for follow-ups to Humblewood 1. They started mostly at level 5 or are suitable for a little bit higher than where you end at in the original Humblewood 1 adventure. There's a couple that are for a lower level as well. The first one is The Wind Touched, which was written by Dominic Perzien. Wind Touched are people see them as having gifted with the power of flight, or at least something relating to the power of the wind. And The Wind Touched is about one such town that believes they have this wind-touched mouse person in it, that Jerbeen, that actually can fly. And it's causing a lot of problems, and so like the fact that this Jerbeen, this little mouse person is flying is causing a lot of conflict in the town, and you have to go and sort of solve the issue and sort of help the town understand what's going on. Then there's the Wakeworm's Fury, which was our contribution to Free RPG Day back in 2020. So this takes you to Salter's Port, which is sort of the seaside town. You find out that these wakeworms are causing problems. It's never exactly what it seems. Someone is using nature in a way that they shouldn't, and you've got to go and solve that issue.
Very cool.
Then there's The Seahawk, written by James Hayek, which was super exciting to get to work with them. And this one also takes place in Salter's Port, and it's a noir kind of mystery in a way. A raptor, a seafaring raptor, crash lands in Salter's Port and is taken into a lighthouse and is being taken care of, but they're having terrible nightmares, and the nightmares are starting to come to life around the lighthouse, and you eventually have to adventure into the Seahawk's mind to start helping him pull him back from the brink. Then there's Hunt for the Loper, which is written by me. This is sort of a look into the world of the cryptids of Humblewood, such as they are. The Loper is this mythical creature that this one hunter who lives out in the woods near this hunting outpost called Rhea's Watch. He believes he's seen it. For one reason or another, the party decides to follow these rumors and finds out that there's some truth to who the Loper is and what's going on. But again, nothing's exactly what it seems like. And then Descent in the Dark, written by Holly Conrad. This one takes us back into Alderheart, the big city, and it really takes you down into the bowels of the trunk, the roots of the city. And you're dealing with all kinds of oozes. Every one of the adventures comes with a new slew of monsters. There is the Caterpede, the Dusktail, which are kind of little chinchilla squirrely looking things. And we've introduced a few kind of new bugs as well. The Everbug, the Firelance, Firelance is kind of a waspish type creature.
We've also got quite a lot of new NPCs. So, for example, there's Alderheart's Most Wanted, who have this fantastic spread of all their wanted posters, and then you can find their stat blocks in the back of the book, and it's like they're just so fun. There's my favorite is the Godfeather, who is a crime boss, and just a real nasty piece of work. He's great.
And are there maps in these adventures as well?
Yes, there's some really gorgeous maps. I think done by Samantha Russell. Which my favorite is the one from the Seahawk, like of the lighthouse. Those maps are absolutely beautiful.
That all sounds amazing. You also have like other world building things. You have like shops, right? And shop owners that people can use. But you essentially have like NPC and locations that anyone can use in their adventures, independently of these adventures you've included, correct?
Yeah, we have the sort of chapter called Shops and Stores. And a lot of the magic items are kind of linked to those, where we have these different shop owners who they each have like their little bit of backstory, some information about sort of role playing them, and then each of them have like a little mini one-shot adventure that is associated with them. So when we say there's 5 adventures, there's actually quite a few more. Also, some of the like species that these shop owners are actually going to appear in Humblewood 2, which we're sort of prepping right now. We're getting ready for the Kickstarter. And so we've got the goat person, Jonal, who like has this huge wagon filled with all sorts of goods from beyond Humblewood. And she also is the character in whose voice the guide to Alderheart is written. Like she loves traveling. She writes these little travel guides for people. And then we also have Splex Bandra, who is a Tilia. So he's a little gecko person, and he's a bit dodgy. He's maybe not the most moral or upstanding merchant. He likes selling potions that are maybe a little bit dubious. So yeah, he's a really fun like shopkeeper to interact with, because the interactions can go several different ways with him.
Was there one element to this book that was your favorite in creating this?
I think what was fun about this, and looking back on it now, is that it'll let us fill in some gaps in Humblewood 1. This is the book that will really let you start running your own adventures, from scratch in the setting. So that's the most exciting part for me.
My favorite part is definitely the Alderheart guide. It has like so much lore that we just couldn't fit into the first book. Alderheart is this huge tree city. And there's the kind of leafy canopy where the elites kind of hang out, and then the trunk where a lot of the kind of like residential and business areas are, and then there's the roots, which were kind of for a long time they weren't an official part of the city, and they were kind of considered not quite proper, but now have been like integrated. And then obviously Humblewood, we love our social our social issues, and so like having more space and time to describe the way these different parts of the city and the folk who live there are able to interact with each other, as well as just giving lots of locations. Like there's accommodation with like little NPCs who get kind of just a little bit of description, but enough, I think, for GM to like take that and run with it. And I think my favorite part of the guide is the section on the festivals. So we have like the whole calendar, and then we have all of these festivals, which are like often linked with like different guilds, which are also explained in the guide. And we really tried to set them up in a way that like it's not just like here's this cool festival, but like in a way that like a GM can read it and go, oh, I can imagine like how I can integrate this into my game, and like have a series of encounters, like what happens if this goes wrong, or there's some kind of challenge within the festival that the players can get involved in. Or a player can read it and just kind of be like, oh yeah, like I understand a little bit more about this world and like what is important to these people who live here.
Yeah, one of the things that often comes up is just like how do these animal creatures live? Like Verity and I did a bunch of live streams last year for our Patreon, and big questions are like always questions about what do they eat, and you know, what do bird folk kids look like and stuff like that. And this dives a little deeper into that. There's a great section, probably my favorite section in the Alderheart guide, about meals, different types of meals, and the where you can get them in Alderheart, and the different types of things that people are eating, because people struggle a little bit with the idea of an animal person eating an animal. But you know, we talk about we give guidance, I guess, in a way to the DM and permission to kind of come up with what that's like. So yeah, really, this is a good book to answer all of your burning questions, especially about how the animal people live in Humblewood 1.
Thank you both so much for talking about Humblewood Tales. I know people are going to be very excited to like not only for the lore deep dives, but have more player options as well. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us, Todd.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.